Hello, Maine Master Naturalists in Training. Today we are going to go on a do-it-yourself vernal pool field trip. Now I have some equipment to bring with me that you might also want to take on your field trip. First I have my binoculars so that I don't miss any birds that might be out there. They'll also help me to see better to the farther ends of the vernal pool where I can't actually access physically. I also have my hand lens so I can look closely at any samples I collect. I have a bag to keep things in, my field guide to vernal pools, my nature journal, drawing and writing supplies, polarized sunglasses. Now it's not very sunny today, but these will help cut the glare on the water so you can see beneath where the frog eggs may be. I also have some little containers so that I can scoop up some water samples and look and see what little critters might be in there. And I have a frisbee, which will help me look closely at frog or salamander eggs. Do you hear that sound? That is a yellow-bellied sapsucker visiting my propane tank. The frisbee is so that I can look more closely at frog or salamander eggs if I find any without harming them. And I have my On Your Own Vernal Pool Field Trip guide, which is in the G drive. I'm also wearing rubber boots, and I'm going to take along something to sit on for when I am taking my notes and doing my drawings. So if you're ready, let's go. Behind me is a vernal pool on my property. Looks more like a thicket. It is a shrubby swamp. Most of the shrubs are willow and speckled alder and winterberry. It's pretty impenetrable. You can get out there a little bit in the winter when it's frozen over. It is a vernal pool because some years it dries up completely, most years it dries up somewhat. The water level has actually gone down quite a bit since the rain a few days ago. And right here we're standing at the southern edge of it, and water flows through it in that direction. This long side, the western side, is wooded with sort of a mixed hardwood pine forest. The opposite side, the eastern long side, is a wet meadow. And it's kind of just a long, narrow, swampy place. About a week ago, it was noisy with wood frogs. Right now it's pretty quiet. Ever since the snow, the wood frogs have kind of quieted down quite a bit. I heard a peeper a minute ago. Maybe it'll come back. In another week or two, this place will be full of warblers and other birds. There have been red-winged blackbirds and cardinals and song sparrows out there so far. So maybe we'll see some of those today. But we're going to walk down a little bit along the edge of the swamp and see if we can see some actual water. So here we can get a little bit close to the water. I've been looking and looking for frog eggs. Most of the frog activity I heard was farther out in the deeper thickets. And I tried to go out there, but I was sort of stymied by the thick shrubs, and I ended up with a boot full of water because it was a lot deeper than I thought it would be. We are going to walk down to the far end to where a little outlet stream is and see what we can see there. See, we are not quite to the outlet yet, but you can see how dense it is with shrubs, which makes it a really great place for wildlife. Now the first thing to do when you get to your vernal pool is to just sit and observe and reflect and make some notes in your journal. expect that's not here? Or what is here that you didn't expect? And what do you think the season is telling you? So, I have been hearing that yellow-bellied sapsucker. I also hear a bird chirping over there in the trees. I think it's a goldfinch based on its kind of whiny squeak. I see the water, I see the shrubs, I see some buds opening up. I was gonna say willow, but I don't think that's what it is. Something else. I'll have to see if I can get a closer look later. So write down your observations in your journal. It's April 18th. It's 11:09 in the morning, about 48 degrees. It's cloudy and just a little bit breezy. So I'm going to take a few minutes to write down my observations in my journal, and then I'm going to map my wetland and do a few sketches, and then we'll check and see what's in the water. In my journal page, I included a title, the date, time, and temperature, and some location information, things I saw, heard, felt, and smelled. I put down birds that I heard. If you don't know the names of birds based on their calls, that's okay. You can just write a description, what they sound like. Once you start really paying attention to bird sounds and starting to describe them, that's the first step towards learning to bird by ear. I included a little mini landscape picture of what I saw, some other smaller details about what was in the water, and I made a map of my vernal pool. So you can include all of those things plus answers to the questions on the second page of the Vernal Pool Field Trip Guide. Once you have completed your overall observation of your vernal pool area, it's time to look a little more closely and see what you can find in the water. This is where the polarized sunglasses come in handy. Let's check it out. But there's quite a bit of glare on the water here, which makes it harder to see underneath. But I can see with my polarized glasses, and I can see a frog egg mass right there. Let's see if there's another. Lots of leaves, twigs, lichens. Here's this frog eggs mass. The water level must have dropped since the mass was laid, because they're sticking out of the water a little. Let's see what they look like up close. So I think these are frog and not salamander, because there doesn't seem to be an outer jelly mass around the whole entire thing, but just individual jelly masses that are connected to each other. And I see a little teeny tiny thing squirming right there. I think that is a mosquito larva. I'm going to put it out a little deeper than it had been. Okay, we're going to try to wade in and get a closer look at this frog egg mass over here. Now I can just slide the frisbee underneath. It looks pretty similar to the other mass. Individual jelly globules with a dark embryo inside. So that's very cool. Wood frog eggs. I'll just let that one go, keeping it attached to its twig. And I'm looking around to see if there are any more. So you can see they're not super easy to see. You have to kind of look for a cloudy spot in the water, a milky looking area. And if it's too far out from the shore, then you'll just have to try to observe it with binoculars. I'm going to check and see what else might be in the water. So I don't see any other egg masses in this immediate area. I think if the frogs were smart, they laid them way out towards the middle where they might have a little better chance away from predators. There's our yellow-bellied sapsucker again. Okay, let's see what else is in this water. So I'm going to collect just a little bit of water and see what might be floating around in it. Down under the mud. I'm going to pour it out on the frisbee and see what's in there. Now there's little squirmy swimming around things, which I'm pretty sure are mosquito larvae. So let's hope those frog eggs hatch and grow up into big frogs that eat mosquitoes. You see it? Now here's an interesting thing. It's a caddisfly larval case, and the larvae of the caddisfly sort of builds this house around it using leaves or twigs, things like that, depending on what species it is. There are also a lot of mosquito larvae in here too. When you're done studying your specimens, be sure to put them all back in the water where they came from. When you're done studying what's in the water, be sure to go back to the questions on your do-it-yourself field trip sheets and answer them in your journal. I had some interesting things that I heard and some interesting birds that I identified. There was quite a lot of yellow-bellied sapsucker activity, goldfinches, heard crows, blue jays. Right now I hear grouse drumming. I saw a hermit thrush when I was walking in. I saw a golden-crowned kinglet. I heard a song sparrow. And right now I hear cardinal also, so there were quite a few bird species. I didn't see any animal tracks, and there were definitely no flying insects. It's way too cold for that. There are a few shrubs whose buds are opening up, and they're kind of out there in the deep water. I can't reach them, so I'm not sure what they are. I expected, or I hoped to find a lot more frog eggs. I hope it would have been nice to find some salamander eggs, but I imagine there are quite a few out there beyond where I can access. And which comes to the third question, which is the size and the topography and habitat influences what I observed. There's a lot that's inaccessible about this habitat, inaccessible to humans, which makes it a good habitat for wildlife. So I imagine there's a lot more frog eggs out there. I don't know about salamanders. I have not observed a huge amount of salamander activity, but we have found spotted salamanders here before. A whole month from now, there will be a lot of greening up. There will be a lot more bird activity. It's a pretty cold day, so a month from now, I imagine it will be warmer. We'll see some insects. Probably some of those mosquito larvae will become mosquitoes. I didn't see any fairy shrimp. And no sign of blue-spotted salamander. Those are two of the primary criteria to make it a significant vernal pool. But for us here in our house, for the wildlife that enjoy it, I think they think it's pretty darn significant. I hope you have a great vernal pool field trip, whatever you find, whatever pond or body of water you're able to access. And I hope you see some interesting things, and see you at our next class.